In today's video, I'm playing with the Tiny Marvels palette from Sydney Grace. I have been resisting buying this palette for ages because I thought that I wouldn't like the packaging. I don't love the design, but I think I was expecting it to be a little bit more obnoxious than it is. I don't know why, because nothing about Sydney Grace and their brand is obnoxious, but anyway, this is a collaboration with Mel Thompson, and this was her aesthetic. I think that her tattoo artist actually did this design. So, you know, when you work with a collaborator, it's very much a joint effort, and this is Mel's aesthetic. Anyway, aside from that, I think the color story is pretty, but I've been struggling with Sydney Grace lately in that I'm just not excited to use their palettes. So this is kind of the last ditch effort to get me to find a holy grail, because I do love their formula. There's just something about, maybe it's the packaging or the color stories or the circle pans. I don't care for circle pans. It's very personal, I know. I'm not really sure. I think it's just less exciting to me than my indie brands, and that's significant. So I'm actually kind of excited about this one, and this is a good sign. I do want to play with this today. I think I want to go, I mean, my lips are very bold today, so I might want to go with something a little bit lighter, a little bit simpler up on the eyes, but I do have a palette pull-in, and this is the next shade I have to use. It's called Jellyfish. I'm thinking some wash of gentle colors on the lid, and then maybe the pink Jellyfish shade on the lower lash line. I've already primed my eyes with the Glam Light Icing Primer. Everything I'm using is linked in the description box. I plugged in my microphone because just as I started to talk, my air conditioning kicked on, and I really want to see if the microphone makes much of a difference. So I'm gonna definitely be playing with the browns in this palette. Let's start off with Tree Hopper with a nice loose blending brush and just lay this through the whole crease. The Sydney Grace formula is so beautiful. I really do think that at the end of the day, it's coming down to my excitement level, because I'm excited about so many of my palettes. I don't really keep them unless they excite me or serve a specific purpose, like companions or inner corner highlights or whatever. Because I'm so excited about everything that I've got, I don't want to play with a palette that doesn't excite me. That just seems silly. And while Sydney Grace has such a fantastic formula, their packaging is not super exciting. And when I open the packaging, I also need to feel excited about what I'm dropping. I also need to feel excited about what I'm doing. So I think that might be it at the end of the day. And while their shimmer formula is not my favorite because it's not very sparkly, it is very good. It's extremely creamy and buttery. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about homeschooling. If you're not aware, I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom. I have 3 children, but only one of them is in school. She is in 7th grade. And then I have 2 little ones, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. I've been talking to some moms lately, and I'm just building this shade up. It's working fine. It's a very soft shade. I'm just gently building it. Anyway, I've been talking to some moms about balancing time management, getting everything done, or more specifically for all of us, not getting everything done. And I wanted to make a video and chat a bit about a little bit like what our day looks like. Now I'm going to take a smaller brush, I think. It's slightly smaller, still pretty fluffy. I'm going into Death Moth. I'm just going to deepen this outer area a little bit. So what our schedule looks like as far as homeschooling and almost high schooler, and then also having 2 in diapers. I've been married for 14 years, and so there's also balancing personal relationship with my husband and quality time with him, household stuff, hobbies, personal interests, physical exercise. My inclination here would be to deepen further, but I think I'm going to keep it at this depth. I'm actually going to take a different brush and go into Love Bug. Just a little bit of Love Bug. I'm simply curious. I kind of want to put that over here. It's not really an inner corner highlight. It's definitely not light enough, but I thought it might be fun to bring in a whisper of pink over here. Let me tell you a bit about what our days look like. Most of them are the same, and I'm actually completely okay with that. I don't want to be overscheduled. I way prefer our lives to be a little bit more on the boring side, with lots of free time, lots of play, lots of time for reading and going for walks and things like that than to have many, many activities outside the house that involve getting everybody packed up and packing snacks and diapers and diaper bag and getting in the car and driving to the place and finding the parking and unloading everybody and the strollers and the activity and the busyness and the craziness and the lack of naps and the tired, cranky kids. Too much. Okay, so I'm gonna take my finger into the shade Fire Butts. If you haven't watched Mel's video when she made this palette with Sydney Grace, you have to go back and check it out, because I love the behind the scenes videos talking about the names of the shades and the colors themselves, and you know, what is a tribute to my mom, what is something that was when my husband and I were dating, things like that. So Fire Butts, I don't remember the story honestly of any of these names because it's been a couple years since I watched her video, but Fire Butts was one of her favorite shades in the palette, and I'm gonna put it, I'm gonna put it all over the place. All the way except my very outer corner. So what our days usually look like is that I wake up when my husband wakes up. I try to get up first so that I can have some time to do a workout or something in the morning, but that doesn't usually happen. But I like to get up when he does, because around 7 I start to hear the little ones fussing. And this is not a new shade, it's just the same brush with whatever's on there still. So the kids wake up, we sometimes get dressed, but usually just go right over to the breakfast table and have breakfast, and then I worry about getting them dressed, because sometimes I just take off their jammies and they eat in their diapers because they're so messy. They're gonna either cover their jammies or their clothes for the day, and then I have to get them new clothes anyway. So I usually just have them eat in their diapers. Yes, I am that mom. So after the girls have breakfast, my oldest will go and get dressed, and then she starts doing school. Now she's awesome. She really is. She's a great kid, and she's pretty independent when it comes to school. Let's do, you know what? Same brush into Flutterby, the same smaller brush into Flutterby, just a little bit. I'm gonna put that right at the inner corner on the lower lash line. And she does need help with some of her school, or she needs my computer, and then I have to open the computer, unlock it, get it hooked up to the internet so she can do some studying or research for whatever her project is. Now I'm doing my palette pull-in, this one here, Jellyfish. By the way, this brush is the Singe EO1. Angelica made it to be a really unique shape, and it's great for the inner corner area. It's kind of that triangular sort of shape. It's also a little bit tapered. It's a pretty big brush to use on the lower lash line, honestly, but if you don't want your color to be super tight, it works. So this is my palette pull-in. Anyway, so my oldest, she doesn't need a lot of help with school, but if she does need help with school, I'll ask her to wait until after lunch, because the morning wends itself along and she works on school, and I will play with the little ones. We read lots of books. Sometimes we go out back and play with chalk or something. And I'm teaching them as well to play by themselves, because I also have housework to do, dishes and laundry and cleaning up and making beds and tidying the floor, tidying rooms and whatnot. So now let's take a smaller blending brush, or maybe a smudger brush or something, and go into Love Bug. No, not Love Bug. Not Love Bug. I'm going to go into Bugaboo here. So then, after a lot of play in the morning, and basically the entire morning, my toddler is asking me to watch Cinderella with the little miceys that talk. We have both of the Disney Cinderellas, and she prefers the animated to the live action. So it's the little miceys that talk. And I always say, no, we're not going to watch a movie right now. Then lunchtime comes along, and my daughter's usually mostly done school with a few subjects outlying. So she puts everything away and we have lunch together. And after lunch, it's time for naps. So I clean up the baby and I lay her down for a nap. And then my toddler, she really should be taking naps, but she doesn't. So I give her quiet time, which is just sit in a kind of darkened room, page through some books, rest. All of us need you to have quiet time, and she needs it too. And her quiet time generally happens in mine and my husband's room, because otherwise she keeps the baby awake. So that's fun. Now my art area, I have an art business and my art desk is in our bedroom. So if I need to work on that, like it's gonna happen today, after I'm done filming, I'm gonna make myself a cup of coffee and I'm gonna go into my bedroom where my middle child is resting. And I'm gonna have to turn on the light and get to work, do some stuff in there. And it will be a battle to get her to stay quiet in the bed while I'm over here trying to get some work done because she's full of excuses and she wants to come watch. Every kid who's supposed to be napping is full of excuses. I'm just going back and forth between these shades. Back into Flutterby. That's a really pretty peachy color. Anyway, so that's the afternoon, and it is during that time that I will film if I'm able to, or help my oldest with her school, whatever she needs, help edit her paper, check her math, run flashcards with her. And then if I'm able to, I will work at my art desk to work on projects for clients, which is ideal, but sometimes it doesn't happen in the afternoon. You know, I think this is pretty, but I am not. I'm not loving the yellowness of this shimmer. Don't get me wrong, the shimmer is beautiful. I just mean for today's look, that I don't want something quite so yellow toned. So let me try Web. Let's see. This is Marvel, and this is Web. Okay, let's do both of them. Let's do Marvel, like Marvel Universe. Yeah, that's a little better. And then I'll take just a bit of Web and put it right here. Yep, that's better. I just didn't like the yellow shimmer with, I don't know, it wasn't working today. It's a beautiful shimmer. It's nothing against the shadow. It's just, I wasn't feeling that shadow today. This is pretty. I think that's pretty. Every time I use one of Mel's palettes, I want to do a brow highlight because in the videos that I saw her do, she did a brow highlight. So where was I? Oh yes, mid-afternoon. My oldest is finishing her school. I've helped her as needed. I'm just going to start the second eye here because I'm not done chatting. And if I'm able to, I'm gonna go get some time at my art area and basically continually tell my toddler, you need to be quiet. This is quiet time. This is quiet time. This is not loud, rambunctious, roll off the bed and be crazy time. That's pretty much her state of being. So it is really hard to tell her to resist her nature and calm down for a little while. Then later in the afternoon, the baby is awake, quiet time is over, any chance I've had for doing artwork is over, and it's time to get ready for dinner and the rest of the evening. So hopefully by this time I have a plan for dinner. I'm still working on meal planning. Do you guys meal plan? Do you use an app or a website to meal plan? If you do, please let me know. Give me some tips in the comments because I kind of suck at it, and I have sucked at it for the last decade and a half. I don't know if my brain is just so full of other things, but meal planning, it's not happening, and it really needs to. We just bought a large freezer so we can buy meat in larger quantities, and that's going to help, I think, but I still need a reliable way to meal plan. Anyway, time to start preparing dinner and giving myself much more time than I actually need because the kids are not gonna leave me alone to do it. This might be, and often lately, it has been the time of day where, okay, now you can watch Cinderella with the little miceys that talk because I need to work in the kitchen with knives and things, and the kids like to climb up on the counters and put their fingers in the way. I'm like, get down, you're gonna get cut, you're gonna get burned, stop climbing on the cabinets. So it's helpful if Cinderella can entertain them for a little while I make progress on dinner. My oldest is usually finishing up her school by then, and she can help me with other chores like, hey, can you go clean the bathrooms, or do me a favor, take the trash out quickly, or what was the other one I used? Oh, Death Moth. Or do the clean dishes and, I don't know, pick up the living room so that daddy's not stepping over toys when he gets home. Various things like that. She really is very, very helpful. She's great. And she needs to make sure to put her school away so the girls don't get into it, touching all her things, messing up hundreds of flashcards. Then my husband gets home and After that, it's okay, dinner, family devotions, play for a little while, maybe go for a walk. Now the weather's not so warm. We go for walks very often in the evenings. And then around 7:30, it's bedtime for the little ones, or baths or whatever. And so they get settled. Yeah. So then they get settled, and my oldest really has been wanting to hang out lately, which is great. It's great. So I usually put aside whatever else I want to do, and I spend time with her until her bedtime. So the little ones get to bed around 7:30, 7:45, and then she's in bed about 9. Usually we have tea, maybe a snack, and we'll play a game together. Last night we played dice. I got a Yahtzee last night. The first game, my first roll, I got a Yahtzee. It was very exciting. We don't do that every night. Usually we play a game, but we also often have been reading. Right now I'm reading her an Agatha Christie mystery, because I love to read aloud, and Agatha Christie is excellent, and she likes to be read to, so it's a perfect situation. Or since after dinner, my husband has been in his office studying because he's in school. So when my daughter heads to bed around 9, she stops in the office and she says goodnight to him, and then he comes out and hangs out with me. We usually will grab a snack or something, although I've been working on not snacking at all. But I might get a cup of tea, usually just water. He'll get a snack, and then we sit down and we watch The Office together. We actually have a rotation. We have The Office, Parks and Rec, and Frasier. We just rotate between the three. So that's about the gist of it, honestly. That's pretty much a regular day in our household. Any kinds of hobbies usually get done early morning, or if my husband needs extra time to study and my oldest has gone to bed, then I'll have time to work on a hobby, or middle of the afternoon I have like an hour or two. And I really do have more hobbies than I can keep up with, which means that none of them ever get enough time. I mean, eyeshadow gets a lot of time. Eyeshadow and my art business are the two dominant hobbies in my life at this point, I would say. And that's really just a matter of time constraint. I mean, I wish I had more time, but I don't. I have other responsibilities. After my husband and I have watched 1 or 2 episodes of one of our shows, then we shut down the house and head to bed. And honestly, it's beautiful. It's a quiet, peaceful, unbothered life. It's a pretty slow, easy pace. On Thursdays we have homeschool group, and those days are quite full. We try to do little things here and there. We have some friends who like to get together for a lake day or a homeschool PE day or something. I just don't want things to be too busy, because I have found that all of us are more short with each other, more short-tempered, we're a little crankier, we're more tired, and everything else just seems to be disrupted when we have too much activity. I like this pace of life. It's very peaceful. There's a lot of flexibility. We can go and do things if we want to, but we don't have to. We can stay home, we can just hang out together, and I am grateful for it, because I just know so many people who are way overscheduled, and that might be the season of life they're in, or the age of their children, extracurricular activities. Right now we don't have a lot of that, and I'm okay with it. To finish off my eye look, I put this beautiful in my waterline, this beautiful pink in my waterline. It's from ColourPop. It's the shade Fluffy, and it's almost a perfect match for my palette pull-in in the middle. I have mascara on, and that's it for my eyes. On my face, I'm wearing a Super Shock Cheek from ColourPop. No Vacancy is the color. I have some bronzer from Physicians Formula, and then on my lips, I'm wearing the Italia Deluxe 1060 Hot Cocoa. This is a lip liner. So I've worn this once before, and I overlined my lips a little bit, and later in the day it looked like I had a mustache. Now, I didn't overline them that much, but what I mean is, because it's kind of close to my hair color, it just, I don't know if it was giving a cast, or if maybe the color moved over time between drinking and talking. I'm not sure. The color obviously didn't go as high as a mustache would, but what I'm saying is, it wasn't the most flattering effect after I'd worn it for several hours. This is the only color I've experienced that with, because I think the rest of the colors are either more my lip tone or berry pinky shades that just wear off or fade away differently. So today is an experiment to see how this color works again, but I've paired it with the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Lava Cake, and I thought that with these very dramatic bold lips, I needed a soft eye look. I think the eye look is pretty. Where's my mirror? Yeah, I mean, it's nothing spectacular, but it's pretty, and it's really good quality, and I like it. I don't love it. It's pretty. It's very subdued and quiet. It's not super dramatic, but the quality is exceptional. So I just heard a crash from somewhere in my house. It was probably the 3-year-old, probably actively destroying something, which is what she loves to do. I'm going to investigate that, make myself a cup of coffee, and see if I can get something done at my art desk. Hopefully she didn't destroy anything on my art desk. Anyway, do remember to check the description box for more information, links to everything, video suggestions and ideas. I hope that you will consider liking and subscribing if you haven't done so before and you'd like to see more content like this, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.